Hello my dear friends, this is a PaintyKat and today we will create a very beautiful landscape. And as usual, when I'm starting to paint with acrylic or gouache paints, I'm always starting from first basic layer of clear white that helping me to create a very smooth and beautiful looking backgrounds. For sky, I choose two colors. It's cobalt blue and ultramarine. I put some spots of these shades on a paper now. I think it's enough for the moment. And now, while first layer is still a little bit wet, I'm starting to blend all shades together. As you can see, the background now sky have no any spots after blending because we did it on a basic layer of clear white. If I want to create a deeper shade, I just put more spots of color I need and then blend it again. Now I want to create a cloudy sky a little bit, with a soft look without any visible stripes, and I'm starting to tap with my flat brush. Don't do any strokes, just pat it, the same way as you probably do with a foundation on your face, right? When you're creating makeup, it's just the same. Just tap and that's it. If you want to create, for example, more light areas, you can put there clear white as well. And now I think I'm happy enough. I want to take a smaller size brush, shape the same, it's flat oval brush, and I want to create some clouds. I think will look good here. You can see today for inspiration I'm using a photo, and today I want to talk to you about how to use photo and how to create paintings when we taking the idea from the photo. Now I think I'm happy enough with my background, with my sky, and I want to create Fuji mountain. I'm still looking at photo, but we can't transfer all details with same quality, because look at my size. My paper today, it's A4 size, so it's not that big, and the brushes I'm painting with big enough, right? That's mean I can't create the same tiny small details as you can see at this area, at the mounting that we have on the photo. This moment have bad sides and good sides. Good side is you can control on what area you want more attention from your viewer. At these areas on your paper you creating best detailing, and at area you don't attention on it from your viewer, you creating less details as you can see on a photo. For example, this mountain, it's not a center of a composition at all, it's a really background, and I'm not paying much attention on it at the moment. I'm just creating the common view close to shape I can see on a photo, but I'm not trying my best on it. Also, don't create too dark shade side of mounting. It's still it's still light enough. Now I want to create dark details on a mountain, and I can see absolutely clear the color of mountain. It's blue. It's mixed now on my brush I'm using, it's flat. And we know about stones it's gray and brown, but from the photo at the moment I can see absolutely clear it's blue color. And it's another good side of taking details from photo. We can pick color just straight as we can see, so we can work with picture itself, but not with our knowledge about object we're creating. This moment very helpful for every beginner, because common mistakes is beginners trying to paint using a knowledge about object, but they not using their own eyes. They not trusting colors they can see. Photos giving us absolutely visible, well visible color, and now I can see for my mounting it's a really beautiful blue, so we can just transfer color as we can see. That side of taking photo as inspiration, it's of course we can't create the same detailing, and it's a big issue really for beginners as well, because beginner always in doubts about how well they can create details in every, let's say, centimeter of a painting. And we have to remember, we don't need to create well detailed area everywhere. We keeping detailing, high detailing work only for a center of composition, and this can be for my painting of course a foreground and a blooming tree on a foreground. At the moment I blended a little bit blue color of mounting, and I have to paint now forest really far away. Don't mix now any black, even not open it. It will give you some dirtiness on your painting. We don't want it. Just mix green and a little bit of cobalt blue. It will give a really nice but dark shade to your green. Look what brush I'm using. It's a small brush, number 1. It's a round shape, the same as we usually taking for watercolor. And again, don't make any stripes, any long strokes. We don't want it. Just pat gently, take enough amount of painting, mix it again as soon as you're running out of paint, and just pat, make some, I'd say, brush prints. I'm not painting really at the moment. I'm just making a tiny footsteps, brush steps on my paper. The most visible area of my forest I'm painting with a small brush for better detailing, of course, and as soon as I'm going closer to line between mountains and fields, I'm taking a bigger brush, because this area gonna be behind blooming trees, and I don't need high detailing for it, and big brush just painting faster than small one. I have to keep clear at least 3 centimeters from the bottom. It's from field part, and all other areas I'm filling with a dark green shade. Just blending a little bit, not care about if I miss any areas of paper, because I already have white layer, a white underlayer, so no matter if I miss anything, they're gonna be not just an empty paper but white color. I think I'm happy enough at the moment with this forest, and now I want to create a field. You probably noticed mounting now looking different. I didn't pay much attention of how much memory I have on my camera, so I was low in memory sadly, and I lost 5 minutes of this tutorial, so I did another work, the double work, the same, and I will demonstrate the process of field painting on another paint at the moment, but I will get back to my previous one as soon as this lost 5 minutes will demonstrate it to you. I'm mixing at the moment burnt umber, ochre and a little bit of white. Also it's some green just from my palette. Main idea, just create fields with the horizontal strokes, and please take a flat brush. It will give a very nice effect. Look, just make really thin long strokes, and be sure it's horizontal, of course. Don't paint it too dark, because all shades from blooming trees we will create later. As soon as you going close to forest far away, just turn your brush vertically and make some very small short strokes to blend together forest and fields. This line between middle ground and the background will be not visible later. I will take this sponge, it's from AliExpress. I will give you all links for materials I'm using today. I blended now two colors together. It's a violet light and a Madder Lake red. Just potting a little bit colors together on palette, and then I can apply this shade on my painting. Be sure forest on a background already dry completely, because now I can get back to my first painting. So I just created a double painting to demonstrate you the way how to create field. And look, now we're using a sponge. We're creating the main shape of trees on a middle ground. Also, you can mix there a little bit of white. Don't mix much, because all light we will create later. I prefer sponges from AliExpress. It's kinda cheap, but it's have a better structure. It's I'd say more gentle and more small than we have from washing sponges. But if you don't have any special painting sponges, you of course can just use sponges for washing. Now I'm mixing black. First time I opened black color for this painting, and I'm mixing it with a little bit of burnt umber. And now with a tiny brush number 0, I'm creating trees, trunks for trees. We're not painting fans, so try to create trunks with different sizes, different shapes. Also, now at the moment we can paint some small branches also. Don't be too accurate, because we will still put on top of it layers of light colors, and we will repaint some branches again. This layering giving us ability to create a very good shaped and very trees with a good volume, with a good visible volume, and it's in the end looking more live. Also on a photo I can see trees on the right side of picture, and again we can take color straight from the photo. Color we can, but details we can't. Look, I'm taking now brush number 0, and still even this tiny brush can't paint with so small detailing. Details still looking a little bit not well enough, I'd say. But color I like. If when you painting these trees and you have a light background, choose blue color. As soon as background behind them darker, you have to use also a darker color for trees, and this color have to be darker than background. I'm painting now with almost black. Forest behind this area dark enough as I can see now, and I'm mixing just a little bit with the blue, but still these trees I will paint with almost black color. It will give a nice contrast, and we have here a very bright day, so I think black just good for other parts of these trees. Before I will complete these trees, I have complete all areas behind them. That means it's time to create lights for our blooming tree on middle ground. I'm using a very rough brush with a natural bristle. Also, I will leave all links down below, but I removed the pole from this brush because pole was kind of long, and it was just no use for me. For me, it's much more useful to work with a very short shape of brush for this kind of work. It's the same technique that we're using with a sponge, but brush giving a different kind of print on a paper. I'm not using at the moment clear white. I will do it later, just for tiny details. For most light, I'm using mix of violet, white and Mud Lake red. I have light here from right side, so my trees will have lighter areas from right side, and all left sides of trees will stay in the dark. For some, better blending, I'm using middle shade between light and dark colors on my trees, or just a little bit. And now it's almost white. Let's add better contrast on my trees. Very helpful if you time by time making 1 or 2 steps back, and if you will check your painting from the distance. As well, at this moment, very helpful to have a photo if you're working with it, right? If you have it in your hand. Also, holding photo on the distance, at least half meter, and you can, compare with your painting. Is it close enough? Not details, but common view have to be close enough. I already told you before, some small branches will be covered with a light on my trees, so now it's time to repaint some of details, not everywhere, but at some areas I want to create more visible trunks and branches, because blooming trees, sakura for example, also some trees like apple and plum, at the moment they blooming, they have only flowers on it but no leaves, and it's making trees very transparent, so we can see a lots of branches, very clear, but all trees looking pinkish and round shaped, very fluffy. And this view I'm trying to paint now, this effect, a lot of branches and visible trunk, but pink color as well, no any green there at the moment. This trees on the right side, I believe it's early spring at this photo, so I can see trees there have a very tiny amount of green leaves, but I want to create these trees on my painting without leaves at all. I think it will give better feeling of early spring. So I'm not going to put here any green at the moment, but last detailing I will give to these trees as last step of my painting. At the moment I want to create dark trunks only, and I want this area let it dry before I will return to these small twigs, very tiny branches, and I will complete this tree. That's it. Now maybe one or two short strokes. Now I want to make some light on trunks. Also you can put here some really white. It will look good enough. Don't put much, just a little bit. And now we have to create cast shadows from trees. I mixed burnt umber, a bit of white, there also can be some green, and don't create too solid cast shadows, because it's have to be a very, looking as a lace, very gentle. You can see I'm painting with a small flat brush, but my strokes are not long, it's very light and soft. For better and again for most soft view, I mixed now middle shade between lights here and shadow parts, and I put this middle shade almost everywhere where I have shadows. I think it's good enough now. And now I want to print. It's a trees again, blooming tree. You can see it's also this detail also on a photo. The same steps. First we have to create most dark areas as a basic layer. I mix again violet, some Mother Lake red, and a bit of white, of course, because this tree here much more lighter than we have trees on a middle ground on the right side. Here we have to spend more time on our sponge work because area is bigger. Don't try to make too big spots with your sponge. Better to create area you need with a small steps because it will give a better feeling of tree. Remember, it helps if you will do 1-2 steps back and check how your sponge work looking from the distance, because really this technique best looking from 1-2 meters. We never are watching paintings too close. We always remember in museum you never watching paintings too close, right? It's always a distance between you and the painting. So the same distance we have sometimes, we have to keep between our painting and our eyes. It will give you a better feeling how your painting going. Here I can see it's the left corner. I can see it has some probably green, maybe bushes, or it's grass. I can't see clear. The quality of photo I'm using today is really low, but it was so inspirational for me because I really waiting for spring in this year. It's kind of cold in my city. Just 2 or 3 days ago it was minus 17 degrees. Really cold, and I want spring. So I'm so waiting for it. I just couldn't resist this beautiful spring landscape. I wanted to paint it so much, and I'm just I just adore this color mixing, violet and Mother Lake red. I think it's giving a very good, very fresh view for landscapes. Now I'm using the same brush, but you can see here I still have pole on it, and the color mixing now it's a very light pink. Again, I'm making small steps, parting gently, not really making any strokes, any long strokes. Best brushes, it's natural at the moment I'm using. If you only have synthetical brushes, it's not that good, unfortunately. So if you like this effect, you have to use sponges and really think about to get some natural brushes for this kind of work. It's not a soft brush, it's rough, and also you have to use almost dry paint. If you're painting with a gouache, please be sure you not put there much water. The same for acrylic, please don't put there much water, and also be sure if you washing your brush in water, you removing extra water from it. Other way it can be tricky to get this kind of brush steps. Now I'm using mix of burnt umber and black. It's again almost black, but I'm not a fan of using clear black. I prefer some mix. And here on left corner it's time to create some branches. I think it's small trees probably. Here you have to spend some time because this small strokes taking lots of time. As for me, I spent 1 hour to create this painting completely. Now I mixed ochre and a little bit of white. The shade very light actually. Just for details. That's it. And now I again choose the same brush. It's a small sized brush for brush prints. That's helping me to create blooming trees. And here you have to be sure the green layer completely dry, because again pinkish shades getting really unpleasant view if it's mixing with the green shades. That's it. Now I'm mixing white and ultramarine and a little bit of cobalt blue, and I'm painting the center of my composition, the most important area. It's a blooming tree on the foreground. We actually can't see the tree, but we can see some branches, blooming branches. Why I didn't take black or brown? Because again, look at our reference, at our photo, and I can see all small twigs there have a very light shade, and it's blue. So again, I can take color I can see on a photo. This step again needs time. So take your time, enjoy the process, and create as many branches and twigs as you like to see on your painting. I'm not trying to paint exactly the same amount of branches as I can see on a photo. That's not possible. Size of my painting are really small. If we're talking about very super realistic painting transferring from photos, it's always a really huge sizes, much bigger than we're painting at the moment. Then it's possible. On this kind of paintings, small paintings, no, it's just not possible to transfer every detail. So we're only taking most important and visible ones. Now I'm making for main branches. Now I mixed black and burnt umber, and the biggest branches I'm doubling with this shade. And look, those blue branches looking so realistic now. I'm not going to to paint everywhere with black and brown. No, only a biggest, widest branches. Looking nice, isn't it? These small blue twigs, so realistic. That's a good idea than we took from the photo. Now I choose a round brush with cutted tip. This is a brush from set with the different shapes. Also check the link below. And this kind of brush, very useful for flowers on the foreground. We're not going to paint a really flowers, it's just a round prints, and mix some colors, so each step have a slightly difference between each other, because I'm always mixing colors on my palette. Don't put flowers everywhere. You don't have to follow exactly photo, but follow the idea. Look, flowers, they are not everywhere, it's groups somewhere, so I'm trying to follow similar areas. Now I have to take light shade again. I think this may be too light, too many white, not enough pink, so I will blend it a bit with ACRYLIC red to contrast it, I think, at the moment. Yeah, more pink shade, looking more natural. So all others I will create with more pinkish shade of color. And the same, this step of painting taking time. I can tell you, I really like to paint and watch some movie at the same time. It's also very nice to paint with some music if you like. So just switch it on, you know, take your time, enjoy the process. And again, colors are really lovely. Brush I'm using at the moment big enough, and it's helping to me to create a lot of flowers very fast. That's it, and now I want to demonstrate to you some trick. I very like it. Look, now I'm taking a brush with a smaller size, it's number 1, and now paint some tiny spots, you know, put really small spots around these groups of flowers. It's giving effect that you have best detailing here, and it's looking like you created all groups of flowers with a very small brush. It is not so, because a basic layer of flowers, first and second layers of flowers, we created with a big brush, isn't it? But this small brush and this, you know, it's just 1, 2, sometimes, you know, 10 spots around. It's giving the final very detailing look. Somewhere I also can, you know, put not light but really dark shaded spots, for example, violet or madder lake. Look, it's very, very small, and all spots mostly on very small twigs. Mostly around, not in the center of group, but around group. That's it, and I told you we will get back to our trees on the right side because it's have no crowns around. For crowns, mix blue, a light blue, because again I don't want to create any green leaves there. I want to keep a feeling of very early spring. And imagine you just creating a usual crown of tree, but with a blue shade, and it will give actually view not blue leaves there, but it's giving effect of smallest, tiniest twigs on ends of branches. I'm almost done. Here on the left side of tree I want to use a darker shade because this part of tree will stay in the shadow. I very much like now effect of transparent tree. Again, I think it's giving feeling of early spring, and I'm pretty happy with these trees on the right side at the moment. And now I only want to add some more white spots on blooming brushes on the left side, and I think we will be done. I did 2 steps back, and I noticed I have kind of detail I don't like on my mountain, on my Fuji. It's very helping to get a common look on your painting, to check if you want to make some changes, and I think this is the last ones. Maybe to add some dark details also here. Of course I will sign my painting in the end. Also I recommend you the same. Paint your work, be proud of your paintings. Subscribe for more tutorials. Also join me on my Facebook group, and I will be happy to see what paintings you creating. It was a PaintyKat. I wish you all the best.